So OpenBSW has the goal to really provide the industry a new way to do microcontroller development for automotive. So really the bread and butter ECUs that you have in a car running microcontrollers basically, dozens of microcontrollers. And with OpenBSW we chose a different approach than the traditional one. Everything is text and code based, fully automatable in a CI pipeline. And in the age of AI, this text and code based thing is as well very well resonating to enable AI development for automotive microcontrollers. And yeah, the goal is really provide this platform. And the business goal, not to hide that, for Accenture is as well then to conduct serious production projects and enable clients as well to collaborate on microcontroller basic software development. OpenBSW, not many know this, is already on the road since more than 10 years on production cars with German manufacturers. Therefore, it's battle-proven software. And it's built in a way to run safety software next to QM operating systems. So we even separated the safety software so that, for instance, a FreeRTOS, which is a QM level software, but widely adopted in microcontroller space, runs and drives the tasks, but everything that is really crucial for safety is separated. Memory, timing, tasks, watchdogs ensure that the safety software is really executed. And therefore it's a prime example to use functional safety software from open source for automotive SDVs. And OpenBSW as well supports with stuff that we can't open source because it's AUTOSAR compliant. OpenBSW supports that you run AUTOSAR software components on it, ICC1 level for the experts listening here, but as well you can deviate. So you don't have to follow the AUTOSAR methodology, but you can. And we have all the tools to deal with the AUTOSAR XML, diagnostics and everything. And yeah, that is pretty much the key differentiator there for OpenBSW. The current version that you'd find online is pretty much based on C++. As I said, it's a battle-proven C++ software stack. That is the current one. There are plans to evolve this further. Late last year, we extended it for support for ThreadX, another Eclipse SDV or an Eclipse project, as well interesting for the SDV space, and RTOS with safety and security certifications. So we run as well first experimental builds on ThreadX, and we as well for the wide range of microcontroller support have a port for the Linux Foundation Zephyr RTOS, and that gives you basically the choice between 3 RTOS options to run OpenBSW on. So this is, let's say, high-level roadmaps, and there is tons of software components inside of OpenBSW that can be extended by the community, and as well get upstream features from us, from the projects, what we do there as well. Yeah. I mean, definitely the ones I mentioned, Eclipse ThreadX, which is super viable for us, for its certification abilities there. And there are potentially other projects appearing. Just on OCX, which we are right now taking this interview, we discussed with the Isorix guys that they now have support for really microcontroller environments for their software stack. That is something to look into. And yeah, then it depends really what the projects need, what we put into OpenBSW, and then as well put upstream. Yeah, I've seen so many challenges in past automotive projects, really late bugs, trying to stabilize software very late in projects, which really can kill a timeline. And Rust, with the Rust compiler, with the very good error messages of the Rust compiler, and the thoroughness of the Rust compiler to check your code already at compile time for type safety, for race conditions, it this makes it really a Swiss Army knife for critical applications in regulated environments as well. And kind of everybody knows Faro Systems with their move, but as well as other compiler vendors support Rust now more and more. And if you have an ACLD compiler, then only the library ecosystem for functional safety is the last thing to solve. And then you can really, as a developer team, if your code compiles with the Rust compiler, you can already be very, very sure that you don't have these surprise bugs later on with a race condition and a memory leak that really hits you weeks before SOP or even out in the field, because you run robust and stable software validated by the compiler, and that makes it a perfect fit for it. And therefore, even in OpenBSW, we look on and have experiments ongoing how we can introduce Rust into OpenBSW, but it's a little bit too early to share that with in broad daylight with the whole community. But work is ongoing to as well have more Rust support with OpenBSW. Yeah. Now I need to get personal. So looking back 20 years in automotive, I could really draw these hype cycles that automotive was following. 20 years ago, everything had to be XML. DSLs, everything was defined in XML. And from this time, we still have the diagnostic description, XML definition languages that are used left and right. This was the first hype cycle. Everybody tried to do everything with XML. Clever or not, in hindsight, not everything, but it was a tool at hand that was like the hammer you used. After XML came the apps, the container hype. So people try to put in containers in everything, but in a car it's not the case that you start an application 4 times if 4 people hop in the car. Therefore, some aspects of containers where they scale horizontally in a cloud may not make sense in an embedded system. And if it's just a means for deployment, could be better. So after containers came HTML5 as the next hype. So automotive is very much looking on solutions and sometimes following hype cycles here. It's the next thing that is, I think, not really hype, but really helping efficiency is the age of AI now, where agents, AI coding, MCP servers, support tools. And this circles back to OpenBSW. If you have a very complex GUI tool, you can definitely enrich it with MCP servers. But if your project already relied on CI/CD, text and code-based development, it's perfect for AI usage and directly super fuels your developers. And that is the current ongoing thing we all touch now, work with it, and will experience over the coming months and years what comes here. As a good saying is, so today is pretty much, or the AI model you use today is potentially the worst you ever used, you know? So there is so much innovation ongoing that will as well help us in all aspects of automotive R&D.